Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today we're doing a Should You Back video. I have not done a Should You Back video in a long time. Way back when this channel first started, Should You Backs were one of the most common videos I did on the channel. Should You Backs are when I take a single existing Kickstarter and I just talk about whether you should or should not back it, going over the full campaign page and all of that. As time went on and as I've gotten busier and done more reviews and focused and shifted the various focus of the channel to being Kickstarter devoted, to being heavily Kickstarter but a ton of other stuff, Should You Backs have mostly receded into the background. In fact, now my Kickstarter content is primarily either actually just preview content or reviewing games that are prototypes, or alternatively covering my to back or not to back every single Monday, which, by the way, if you want the newest updates on Cthulhu Death May Die, which we'll be talking about today, they'll have more updates Monday, probably, because for all I know, they'll release something today, they'll release an all-in pledge or something today, we'll figure that out. But yeah, Should You Backs are things that kind of disappeared into the background just because of the amount of content I'm trying to do, and the fact that I don't want to be doing 3 or 4 videos a day. I think it's just too much. So, you know, averaging 2.5 is already pushing it. But with that said, this is Cthulhu Death May Die. This is one of my favorite games of all time. This is a campaign with 15,000 people currently following, and this is a command campaign, and I do love my command campaigns. And so here we have a Should You Back It today. As far as the format, I have no idea. We'll figure out. I used to have this down, but we're just going to go ahead and run into it. With $2.3 million raised, 15,000 backers, and 3 days to go, this is a campaign that will come close to possibly beating 3 million. Can we get to 3.2? I'm not really sure. We'll find out soon. They just dropped Season 4 as well as the additional add-ons. We'll be going over all the add-ons, but first, the very short overview of everything is this is Cthulhu Death May Die. This is a standalone campaign. This is Cthulhu Death May Die Fear of the Unknown. It's a standalone campaign in the Cthulhu Death May Die system. There's the original Cthulhu Death May Die that had Season 1, and then Season 2, which is an expansion for Season 1. Now we have Cthulhu Death May Die Fear of the Unknown, which is Season 3, but also standalone. You do not need any previous content. Then there's Season 4, which is an expansion to Season 3. You will need Season 3 and or Season 1 to play Season 4. And there's a few other optional buys, and we'll go through all of that, but I wanted to cover off the bat, you do not need Season 1. You do not need the Unspeakable Box. You can dive into Cthulhu Death May Die with this being your entry point into the genre. As far as the game is basically Cthulhu themed, as you might imagine, with a name like Cthulhu Death May Die, and it's a game that's a dungeon crawling game where you're going to have your investigators that are slowly going mad, which is important because as you go mad, you level up your abilities. So you have to be toying with your madness, leaning into it effectively because of the fact that as you get more crazy and as you potentially start to go insane, you are also doing much more damage, but once you do go insane, you're dead. You die if you take too many wounds or if you go insane, so you have to manage those aspects of the game as you play through them. As far as Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, they're basically giving you episodes as well as Elder Ones to pair up. When you play a game with Cthulhu Death May Die, you're going to pick an episode and an Elder One. The combination of those will create a unique scenario. Along with that, your unique insanities for the characters, along with the unique characters you're choosing, and along with that, in Cthulhu Death May Die Fear of the Unknown, they've now added additional monsters and relics, just giving you a highly variable scenario you can dive into. The core box of Cthulhu Death May Die Fear of the Unknown will come with 2 Elder Ones and 6 expansions, 10 investigators, a bunch of insanities, and a bunch of relics. I think 10 relics or something like that, giving you a lot of content to mix and match. But as you get more content, whether you back the Kickstarter and are getting additional content, additional episodes, additional Elder Ones, additional everything, as you back the Kickstarter, you're getting more content for your game, and as you get additional content, you're getting more content for your game, giving you more ways to mix and match investigators, scenarios, episodes, Elder Ones. Scenarios and episodes are the same thing. Elder Ones, relics, additional monsters, giving you a ton of variability to the experience. That's what's going on here. As far as my general opinion of the game, I've actually dropped 2 videos on this already just recently. I dropped my review of Cthulhu Death May Die, which is, 3 years overdue, but it seemed like a good time to do so. And I also dropped my coverage of Fear of the Unknown, or at least the content I got to experience. They only gave us 1 episode and 1 Elder One to play through, so I got to experience the additional monsters. I got to experience relics, but I only got to experience 1 Elder One and 1 scenario. I liked what I got to experience, and I liked the new investigators, but if you want to check out my opinion on either Cthulhu Death May Die or on Fear of the Unknown, there are separate dedicated videos to that. This video is more focused on the general background and then going through the actual campaign and everything you need to know there. So, as far as the campaign goes, assuming you buy into this game, assuming you're interested in this game, and I do recommend it, but it won't necessarily be for everyone, assuming you are interested in getting the game, your options are a fewfold. You can get Season 1 at retail. That's currently an option. You get your hands in Season 1. They'll be available. I don't know if it's currently available, but check your online game store, check Amazon, check the Board Game Geek Market, check anywhere you want. There are ways to get your hands in Season 1. It is a great entry point into the game. It will run you anywhere between $70 to $100 for a copy of the game, but you will get a decent amount of content for that. Alternatively, I would recommend getting this Kickstarter instead. I can't speak for the scenario content. Currently, my favorite scenario from Cthulhu Death May Die is still the first scenario of Season 1. That is my favorite episode to date. And so you might be skipping out on that. And I think it's generally a lot of people's favorite episode, but I could be wrong with that. But you might be missing out on that if you back this Kickstarter and don't get Season 1. Again, you could still get Season 1. You can get both, but if you're trying to be minimal over here, the Kickstarter is going to run you $100 for the Unknowable Pledge, which gives you that base game. It's also going to cost you shipping, so factor in that like $40 of shipping or wherever you are. So you're looking at $140 for this versus like $70 to $100 for Season 1. So why get this one over here? And the answer is because of the variety of content you're going to be getting from stretch goals. Stretch goals so far, we already have more stretch goals than we had in the original Cthulhu Death May Die Kickstarter campaign. There are already more investigators. So the base game is going to give you 10 investigators. And speaking for myself, I love the investigator variety. I think it really adds to the experience. And we already have 12, 16, 20, 24. We already have 24 investigators currently unlocked, in addition to the 10 that you're getting in the base game. And that's before you get any add-ons of any kind. So if you pay the $100, what are you getting for that extra $60 or so that you're paying in shipping and additional costs and all that? Well, starting off the bat, you're getting 24 more investigators. That's 24 more unique skills or combinations of skills that give you a unique degree of variety to how the investigators play. You're also currently on track to getting 4 lost episodes. The original campaign had 3 lost episodes. That's why it starts over here, lost episode 4, because 1, 2, and 3 are from the original Kickstarter campaign. But you have lost episode 4, lost episode 5, and lost episode 6, with lost episode 7 currently being unlocked as we go through this. That's going to give you 4 more episodes of content. So you're going from 6 episodes to 10 episodes, again, just that base pledge. You're also going to have more monsters unlocked as well as the cards over here, more relics. Some of the more relics you're going to add. You're going to have the Reliqueen relics, the skull and pumpkin over here. And you're going to have more the unknown monster cards from Season 1 and 2, which only helps you. These 2 sets of cards over here that are Kickstarter exclusive, they're part of this pledge. These will only help you if you do pick up Season 1 and 2, or if you pick up the Unspeakable Box. They are not that helpful on their own. I guess in theory you could proxy other monsters, so that maybe they have a little bit of helpfulness. But yeah, that's going to be more relevant to if you have older content. And that's what we have so far, and the campaign is not over yet. But those are the reasons to get Season 1 over here. You're getting more content to the game, meaning it's Season 1, A Fear of the Unknown, you're going to be getting relics, you're going to be getting additional monsters, so you're getting the same stuff you would have gotten in Season 1, but you're getting a few more gameplay additions and changes that they've added, but you're also getting all the Kickstarter exclusive content, which I think is worth that additional price point, but that's a you decision to go through. You have to figure out, from a holding its value stance, everything here, I'll just save you the time, everything here in this campaign will hold its value. Every single pledge option you have, and this is US based in terms of what I'm saying, it may apply to where you are as well, but everything here will sell for more on the secondhand market than what you paid for it. I'm not going to waste time going over to more than that. Maybe I'll timestamp this section. Everything here will hold its value. This is a well-loved game. It's a game that's crossing into the top 100, and this is a reprint campaign. Command campaigns generally hold their value, but more so when they are well loved and doing incredibly well. This is the highest rated command game, and it's crossing into the top 100 because it has to creep up those rankings, which it will continue to do so, especially with this campaign and more Season 1 content and more ratings for the system coming out. This is a good game, a game that people love, and a game that is constantly climbing. So yeah, so far we have 24 investigators, we have 3 lost episodes. Those are the content you can see so far. We have additional monsters as well, giving you more amounts of variety, and then you have the things you can add to your pledge, and again, more stuff on the way as well. As far as things you can add to your pledge, first of all, let's start with the Windwalker. We have Get Ready to Face the Windwalker, Ithacod the Windwalker over here, which is going to give you an additional Elder One. So if you're looking for that additional Elder One variety, because again, if you have 6 episodes in your core box, well, an additional Elder One effectively gives you 6 new combinations, and it does matter. The way you mix and match Elder Ones does give you drastically different experiences, and I do recommend having as much Elder One and episode variety as possible, along with investigative variety, to really make this a game that you can dive into a lot. Now, you might not need all that content. I back a lot of games, and I play a lot of games, and most of the time I don't use all the extra content I have. Cthulhu Death May Die is one of those games that I have personally played it enough to actually want all that content. You may not need that. I do recommend getting more than the base box, but even just getting the Kickstarter content, the core base pledge, and maybe just Ithacod the Windwalker will already give you 18 combinations of Elder Ones and episodes, more than that, because if you back the Kickstarter, you're getting currently 4 lost episodes, so you have 10 times 3, you'll have 30 different combinations as far as how to mix and match. Additional content may or may not be necessary for you. That's a you decision to make, but I think it depends on how much you dive into this game, how much you love the game, and again, factor in, everything here will hold its value, so if you find yourself not playing this game that much, you are likely not losing out on that. But Ithacod the Windwalker is going to give you an additional Elder another one for $30. $30 might seem like a high price point for it. For me, they can offer 7 more of these. I'd buy them all. They each give you, again, each one gives you content equal to the number of episodes you have. And if you have season 1, if you have the lost episodes, if you have season 2, by the time you're done with it, you'll have like 40 episodes, which means this gave me 40 new variations of the ways to play the game, which is just a lot of ways to experience Death May Die, giving you just more enhanced replayability. You're also going to have the Animal Allies expansion for $25. This is a Kickstarter exclusive expansion. I believe both of these are. Is this one also? This one is not Kickstarter exclusive, so this one you can go ahead and get it retail later. It'll be a little cheaper, although there might be an all-in, factor that in. But over here we have the mutated animals over here, as well as the animal allies. Basically, this gives you more relics. The relics are a new system in Fear of the Unknown, and the relics give you basically ways to give each character, each investigator gets a relic at the beginning of the game, and you have some degree of control over them. Basically, you shuffle up relics equal to the number of players, and then you distribute them how you want. But past that, you're going to choose these relics that give you something unique. It gives you another way to mix up the variability. Now you're playing with an investigator you've played with before, but depending on what relic they have, will adjust their playstyle at the same time. And so this gives you 5 more relics, but specifically 5 more relics with animal companions. Most of the relics give you an ability. You can go ahead and re-roll dice in this situation. You can go ahead and have an extra skill level in your signature skill. You can travel through gates. These ones specifically give you animal allies, and the animal allies and their positioning on the map affects how they mess with the game. And as you level up with the relics, so too your animals will mutate. That's why you're seeing 10 miniatures here for only 5 relics, because they have their pre and post mutated forms. And as you move around the board, as other investigators move around the board, you can carry those allies with you, drop them off, and their location is very important because their location is how they affect the board. I mentioned some of the relics that you re-roll dice. Well, the animal relics, when they re-roll dice, they roll based on where the animal ally is. And so these give you additional relic opportunities, which is good if you like those relics. I like those relics. I think it gives you more variability. I think $25 for 10 miniatures and 5 relics is not the worst price point, not necessarily the best price point, and I think you don't necessarily need this, but it is going to give you more variability. And again, Kickstarter exclusive, you can buy 5 of these, they'll all hold the value just fine. You fast forward a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, these things will be going for $75 on eBay because people are trying to get their hands on the Kickstarter exclusive version of the animal allies. See Deadeye Walkers from Zombicide Black Plague for an idea of what I'm talking about. These things do well, and if you want this, now is the time to get it. And if you're unsure if it's worth it, buy 3 of them and sell the other 2 and you'll pay for half your pledge. Past that, we have the Referral rises again. I can never say that word. Rises again with the Unspeakable box, and we'll get to season 4 shortly. The Unspeakable box is your opportunity to get the original season 1 expansion stuff, all the extras from season 1 in this pledge. You have 18 investigators. Again, we're already at 24. They had 18 in the original option. We have 11 monsters. We have 2 elder ones. You can have additional options from all the original content you could get your hands on that give you more ways to ways to play through the Cthulhu Death May Die, to play through the content this game gives you. You're also going to have the opportunity to get the giant over-the-top configure over here. As far as whether you should get this or that, again, up to you. Everything will hold its value, but the starting baseline is Unspeakable box. Will give you a ton more content. If you're going all in on season 2, I don't think you need this on season 3 and 4, I guess, but the second Kickstarter. Then I don't think you need all this, but again, it will give you more variability. 2 more Elder Ones and 18 more investigators and 3 new episodes. That's a ton of combinations to the content you have. Do you need that? That's a you decision. Are you going to play this game enough? That's a you decision. Will you be able to sell this for what you paid for it if you find that you don't play it enough? Absolutely yes. Speaking of which, you have the Elder one as well. The Referral Rising over here, the giant figure. This is over the top. I have not seen anyone rave about how good this episode is, because this gives you a playable episode. It gives you a giant Elder one and a playable episode. I have not seen anyone talk, I'm sure there are people who have done so, but I have not personally seen anyone talk about how amazing this episode is. This seems to be more of a collector's piece to put on your shelf and show that you have a giant Elder God in your shelf, which is fun. Is it worth $180 to you? Up to you. Will it hold its value? Yes, but factor in the hassle of shipping and all those aspects as well, because those are things to be taken into account. But this thing is, and this is a new version of it, by the way. This is a green Cthulhu. The original one had it all gray. This is green Cthulhu on a gray base and a playable episode that most people won't bother playing. But yeah, that's what we have as far as this. Which brings us to season 4. Season 4 brings us more content for the game. This gives us, I believe, 2 Elder Ones. It gives us 1 Elder One, sorry. It gives us 2 Elder One figures, 1 Elder One box. It gives you 6 investigators, 6 episodes. Again, that's all more variations, more playable content. It gives you 6 new relics, which is a big deal as well. It gives you more tiles, which I'm fine with, not as obsessed with that. I find that the more tiles you have, the harder it is to actually set up each individual episode as you try to filter through your tiles, unless you have a good organizational system. To me, the investigators, the cards, all these things are all great. The episodes, they fit in the box beautifully. The one thing that I find is a little bit more of a hassle, the more content you have for Cthulhu Death May Die, are those tiles. The more you have, the more you're trying to find the right one at any given time. I need a better way to organize them or manage them. I'd love to have some sort of, I don't know, I need to find a box so I can just put them in order of number and just pull them out that way. I need to figure out a better system than what I have right now, but yeah, that's the only aspect there. Past that gives you more monsters, more mythos cards, more everything, more relics, more insanities, all good things, as well as if you back this on Kickstarter, you'll also, and here you can see some of the new relics and the new insanities, but if you back this on Kickstarter as opposed to waiting for retail on this one, while this expansion is not Kickstarter exclusive, there are additional content, there is additional content in this game, in this expansion, that is Kickstarter exclusive, which is, we have the new episodes and we have the new monsters, just scrolling all the way through this very long page, until we get all the way down to, two over here. We have the exclusive bonus over here. We have the skull bracelet, the ivory figure, and the relapse seizures over here, which prevents players from talking in the game as long as they have this. So those are the things you'll have over here, and this was available as a Dice Tower promo at one point, so you may already have that potentially, but these are the things you'll have if you back this on Kickstarter now. And again, see previous conversations, people want this stuff, and it should hold its value overall, especially considering that you have to pay for this either way. You're just paying a bit more. You're paying $65 and an $80 MSRP, plus you're paying the additional shipping, but you get a few extra relics here, and I think more importantly, if you don't care about those relics, I think you can wait, get this at retail if you want, but more importantly, I think there's likely going to be an all-in pledge. This is where we pivot to the conversation being about the fact that there will be an all-in pledge, almost certainly. There almost always is on a command game nowadays, and so an all-in pledge over here will likely give you some discount for getting all these extras. They might have more stuff as well. I haven't yet seen, let's see if we can scroll through the optional buys, I haven't yet seen anything as far as the additional dice. I have not seen the marbleized dice. I expect those to show up. I have not seen any plastic token pack. I'm questioning whether that will show up. I don't know. I certainly haven't seen a playmat and don't expect one, because a playmat would be very hard given the nature of the individual tiles and the way you construct scenarios. So some of the things you may be used to seeing on command campaigns should be here, some of those may not. An all-in pledge is almost certainly going to be a good way to get a lot of the content at a slight extra discount to push you into getting that Windwalker box, to push you into getting that Season 4, to give you that additional incentive you need to compensate for the fact that there's additional shipping and costs and all those factors. It likely will be the best way to get your hands on everything. But if you're trying to be frugal in this, if you're not worried about selling stuff and you're not thinking about will it hold its value or not, as far as the ultimate should you back it, again, to reiterate what I said earlier, everything here should hold its value just fine. Potential exceptions are things like Windwalker that give you no reason to really get it until it's wrapped into the all-in. That will change the conversation. Otherwise, you can save a few bucks by getting it at retail, but it'll be a few bucks, because if it's available at retail for $30 and you're paying $25 plus shipping now, you might be losing like $6 now. Once it's part of the all-in, you won't be losing the $6, and then until then, it's a question of hassle. For myself, I'll lose the $6 and get it on this Kickstarter, even if they don't give me an all-in, just because I'm not going to try to track down a singular thing at a singular point in time. But for other conversations, that's different. So as far as holding its value, overall should be doing fine. As far as the aspect of what should you get? If you're not going to sell stuff, you're not going to deal with all that, it's too much of a hassle, or you live internationally, whatever, what should you get? It depends on how much you like this game already. If you like this game already, then you'll probably get everything, because you probably like this game already. If you haven't played this game and you're wondering where to start, I recommend the Unknowable Pledge, possibly with the Windwalker. Possibly that. That'll run you around $130 plus shipping, giving you a very strong amount of variability. Because of the fact that you're already getting 10 episodes in episode 1, the Windwalker adds 10 more combinations, and I think it's worth that additional $30, but that is a you decision to make. Because the problem is, if you go ahead and get the Season 2, then you're still getting an Elder one, but you're also getting a lot more. You're getting 6 more investigators and 6 more episodes. So arguably, getting Season 1 and Season 2, Season 3 and Season 4, and skipping the Windwalker might be the better option. So if your goal is pure budget, just go for Unknowable Pledge. Pick up other things down the road if you want them. If your goal is what's going to give you a ton of content while not going all in, Season 4 along with Season 3 should be a very good combination of just a ton of content. And if you're going to like this game and you're going to fall in love with it and you're going to want to play all variations of it or just own all of it, then getting everything except for the giant Cthulhu is still going to give you a very good bang for your buck, including if you get the Season 1 content and the Unspeakable Pledge and all that. And then lastly, if you can't be convinced otherwise, go ahead and get the Giant Cthulhu. But that's more of a hard question there. As far as comparisons to other games, that really depends. I've seen a few questions about Mansions of Madness. What about this game versus Mansions of Madness? What about this game versus oh my gosh, the others. And I don't have a lot of notes there yet. I will say I will have a Play This Not That of Cthulhu Death May Die versus Mansions of Madness, but that's going to be coming after this campaign is over, unfortunately. It may not be coming for a few weeks, I don't know, but there should be a Play This Not That, comparing the game systems, comparing thoughts on them, not just myself, but with other people, just going over our pros and cons of the two systems. And versus the others. The Others is an older game from Eric Lang. That's a one versus many system that has a lot of the same mechanics as Cthulhu Death May Die, in the sense that it's one versus many instead of cooperative. It has that degree of players trying to push themselves to go a little bit more insane. It does a lot of things very well. For myself, I just think Cthulhu Death May Die is a better game. I've played them both. I actually filmed a Play This Not That of those two games a long time ago, before unfortunately my hard drive crashed and I lost 5 videos that will never ever see the light of day, including a Marvel Champions versus Street Masters and like 2 other games. I don't remember. It's been a long time now. This was way back in 2020. For myself, Cthulhu Death May Die is easily the better game over the others. I think the others is a great system. I think it's really well done. For myself, I get the one versus many feeling of that from the World of Smog, Rise of Moloch, and I get the pushing yourself to go insane feeling from Cthulhu Death May Die, and ultimately I prefer having those 2 games, and I got rid of the others. As far as other game comparisons, there's going to obviously be Arkham Horror and Arkham Horror the card game and other Eldritch games, but I think those all give you a very different feeling. This is the most directly confrontational Elder 1 Cthulhu type game. There are other games that have a degree of fighting. Manchester Madness has a degree of fighting. Again, we'll compare those 2 later. Arkham Horror the card game does have that as well, but it's much more focused on being a card game and a lot of investigating going on. Arkham Horror is purely, or Eldritch Horror, much more focused on being investigators and a lot less focused on the pure degree of all the things you're trying to fight and take down. This, more so than others, is a dungeon crawl. That's a pro or con depending on what you're looking for. Overall, it is a well-loved game that is continuously climbing in the rankings, has continuously been climbing in the rankings for the past 2 years since it came out. That doesn't mean it's for you. If you're on the fence, you could try it on a Tabletopia. They have, or Tabletop Simulator, I should say. They have Season 1 of Tabletop Simulator, and they also have one of the Elder ones and one of the episodes from Fear of the Unknown on Tabletop Simulator as well. I have played the original Season 1 on Tabletop Simulator, and I thought it was a very well done implementation that still gave me a lot of the feeling of the game. Obviously, it's not a physical adaptation, and you have to take that into account when you play it. You have to take into account how much you like or dislike TTS or any of those systems, but if you want to try the game out, there are options to do so without committing $100+ to this campaign. And that's basically your Should You Back It. There's a lot of content here, a lot of good stuff here. I love this game system. I love what they've been adding. I love all the things that have currently been added. I love the relics. I love the pets. I like the additional monsters. I love the investigative variety and just the more content for a game that is one of my favorite games of all time. That doesn't mean it'll be one of your favorite games of all time. And so ultimately, as far as Should You Back It, it'll hold its value. How much you're willing to commit on that and whether it's a game for you, though, that's a different question entirely. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.